Today we are going to see the labeling of terbium-161. This has become a new alternative of lutetium-177 and it is very promising. So let's see how the terbium labeling can be done. Before the seeing labeling, we'll have a look on properties of terbium-161 and we'll see why it is so much promising and exciting to have this. It is same as lutetium 177 but having some more advantages into that. Let's see what are those. So it is a beta minus emitting radionuclide which has got the half-life of 6.95 days, and it emits a low energy beta particles which has got the mean energy of 154 keV, and that is suitable for treating small tumors and micrometastasis. So this is the advantage of this terbium-161, that it is suitable for treating small tumors and micrometastasis. And in addition to the beta particles, it emits a high yield of Auger and conversion electrons. This gives the advantage of making it suitable for treating small tumors and micrometastasis. And this can deposit energy over a very short range, which may be of the range of nanometers to micrometers scale. And it emits gamma photons also. The energies of that is around 49 keV and 75 keV, which allows the SPECT imaging without any adding separate diagnostic isotope. And its physical decay properties are similar to that lutetium-177 but with higher local energy deposition due to additional electron emission. This makes it more exciting. So why terbium is so interesting? Let's see the chemistry and the physics of this. Terbium and lutetium are lanthanides with nearly identical coordination chemistry, allowing direct replacement of lutetium by terbium-161. The physics is additional Auger and conversion electrons from terbium-161 deliver much higher absorbed dose at cellular scale, making it better suited for micrometastasis and heterogeneous diseases. See, if you see the periodic table, it is in the same third group of lanthanide series. Lutetium is here at the 71 shell and the terbium is at the 65 shell, but these both are in the same group of third group, which has got the lanthanide. And if we compare 1:1 how the lutetium and terbium are different with each other, the Z is 71 for lutetium, whereas for terbium atomic number is 65. Lanthanide series both from the same. The valence state is +3 for both of them. Chemistry chelation is DOTA based, and this for the same terbium also it's same chelation. Chemical similarities standard reference standard are very similar to if we compare with this, so chemistry is almost similar. Physical half-life also it's similar, 6.65 days for lutetium and 6.89 days for terbium-161. The mean beta energy is 133 keV for lutetium-177, and for terbium-161 it is again 154 keV, whereas beta max is 497 keV for lutetium and 593 keV for terbium. So in any way these betas are not inferior than the lutetium, even better than the lutetium. Mean range is 0.7 mm. For this also it is 7 mm. So whatever the work lutetium-177 is doing, it is doing the same work. In addition to that, this has got Auger electrons and conversion electrons, whereas lutetium does not has that. So this gives the advantage in micrometastasis therapies. The effective LET is low for lutetium-177, where it is higher for dense local dose. The imaging gamma photons for lutetium-177 is 54 keV, 113 keV and 208 keV, whereas for terbium it is 45, 49 and 75, though it is little inferior for imaging, but still it can be used and imaging can be done. Imaging capabilities both has got therapy plus SPECT. Dose equivalence lutetium can be used, generally used 200 millicurie, whereas if equivalently how much terbium is required, so as per this paper it is required 145 millicurie. If you go just equivalent to how much linear energy transfer is being done. So but in practical we generally use around 135 or 130 millicurie of activity, which gives almost equal effect as 200 millicurie of lutetium gives. Single cell dose, if it is a baseline, so it gives 2.6 to 3.6 times higher than the lutetium. Micrometastasis dose, again 2.1 to 3 times higher. Micro disease control, here it is a limited, whereas in terbium it is superior than the lutetium. If you see about the cost wise, so terbium is almost 1.5 times expensive than the lutetium. So if lutetium is in the range of 2 to 2.5 lakhs per dose, so terbium can be in between 3 to 3.5 lakhs per dose. And that also depend upon manufacturer to manufacturer, supplier to supplier. So range will cost will change, but it is expensive than the lutetium. This comes in this form, liquid form, and a very concentrated form. And the concentration remains at around 19.03 gbq per ml. So and it chemical form, it comes in aqueous 0.05 molar HCl solution. So let's see how the labeling is done. So first of all, we are going to prepare a buffer for this. So to prepare the buffer, we need to take acetic acid, and we need to take 2850 microliters of acetic acid, and that can be done using 950 microliters into 3 times. So in the pipette we can set 950 microliters, and then we can pipette 3 times into this 50 ml Corning vial, and we can fill it up to 50 ml with ultra pure water or the HPLC water. And for the sodium acetate, we need to take 4.102 grams, and that is again to be dissolved in the 50 ml of ultra pure water or the HPLC water. And from these two, we need to take 25 ml of each, 25 ml from the acetic acid and 25 ml from the sodium acetate, and then this will give you the buffer solution of 50 ml. And it will have a pH of 4.5 around. Now adding of peptide and buffer solution to the stock solution of terbium-161. So peptide, we need to take 300 microliters of peptide, which can be of DOTA or PSMA or whatever you wanted to label. So 300 microliters of peptide is required, and 1 ml from the buffer solution which we just prepared, we need to take it in the append-op, and 100 microliters of acetic acid is also required to be put into that append-op, and this can be just the vitamin C injection which is there, that can be used. So 100 microliters of ascorbic acid, this acts as a stabilizer. So we need to take it in this, and almost 1.4 ml solution becomes, and this needs to be put it in the activity which is supplied as a terbium-161. And once it is added to this vial, we need to give a dry bath for 45 minutes at 100 degrees centigrade. So on heater 100 degrees centigrade we can keep it, and for 45 minutes it needs to be heated. And once this is done, so let that boiling is to take place. Meanwhile, we will prepare our QC solution. To prepare the QC solution, we need to take 1.47 grams of trisodium citrate dihydrate in 50 ml of ultra pure water or the HPLC water, and this makes 0.1 molar of citrate buffer at pH of 8 to 8.5. So our buffer solution is also ready, and our product is getting heated. So once that heating is done, we need to do the quality control, and we need not to take out the solution from the heating. Just from that, we need to take one droplet from the boiled solution and perform the quality control. So we need to do the quality control, and we need to check it whether how much purity has come. So the radiochemical purity should not be less than 95%. And in the in our experience, what happened, we got around 60 to 65% of purity in the first quality control. So we continued to boil, and if you wanted, you can add 100 microliters of peptide and 100 microliters of buffer again into that solution. You need to add 100 microliters of peptide and 100 microliters of buffer again into that solution and continue to heat. Again, after 20 minutes of or so, check the RCP. If it is not more than 95%, continue to heat. This may take around 1 to 1.5 hours, and then your product may reach around 95% of purity. So this is the advantage of terbium, that once if you don't get the right radiochemical purity, you continue to heat that product and wait for the time till it reaches to the desired RCP. In our case, the first time we got around 65.1% of RCP. Here we got 78%, and in the finally we got 98.3% of RCP. So on this we stopped, and then to make it the final product, we need to add 1 ml of ascorbic acid into that reaction vial where we were boiling that terbium-161 with the peptide and the ascorbic acid and the buffer, which in the same vial we need to add 1 ml of ascorbic acid. This serves as radiochemical stabilizer and radiolytic stabilizer, and now it is ready for the dispensing. So this way the product gets ready, and after this you can use it for the patient dispensing. Thank you so much.